Hey y'all, it is a cold Texas rainy night and we're wanting to have some grilled cheese sandwiches with tomato soup this weekend. So I thought I'd whip up a fast batch of a simple, no knead, fast rising homemade bread. I don't know why I couldn't spit that out tonight. It's only 4 ingredients. It's a pretty basic bread recipe. If you know someone that makes bread from scratch, then they probably already know this recipe. Some of you don't know how to make this bread and you think bread is difficult, and I would like to dispel that myth. It is not difficult. It doesn't require a lot of work, and it's better than stuff that you will buy at the store. So let me show you what I'm using, and then we will show you how to make the bread. Alright, so the ingredients I'm using are just a fast-rised yeast from Kroger, some kosher salt, and some all-purpose enriched flour, unbleached. Make sure it's unbleached. So I have my bowl here, and now we're going to get started mixing this bread. Alright, so I'm going to measure my dry ingredients first, which in this case is 3 3/4 cup of the bread flour, unbleached bread flour. Just loosen the cup. You don't want packed flour. 3 3/4 cup. Then I'm going to measure 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. So 1 teaspoon, and normally I would just use half of that, and eyeball it, but you are watching me, so there you go. 1 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then the last thing I'm going to do for dry ingredients is 1 package or 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. In this case, fast rise yeast. So 1 and 1/4. I used to be that person that had a bread maker, and I got tired of pulling it out and doing all of that, and I found this recipe that was super simple, and I've been using this ever since. So I like to kind of make a well in the center after I've mixed it up. Sorry, I guess I should have mentioned to y'all to mix it up first. Now make your a little well in the center, and then we're gonna put 1 1/2 cups of warm water. There's 1 and a 1/2 cup of water. So we're gonna mix all of this up. If you're one of those people that would prefer to do it with your hands, go ahead. I am. So I'm going to take my ring off. Get that flour off. This isn't kneading. I'm not kneading it. I am just mixing it because I don't have all those big fancy attachments and appliances and all of that. I don't even have room in my house for them. So we're just mixing all of this together. You might be tempted to add more water. Don't do that. This is plenty of water. Don't need any more. And you want to make sure you're not using hot water. You're just using warm water. Almost done. My bracelet's hitting the bowl. I'm showing you this whole thing so that you don't start doing this and go, she took 10 seconds to get hers all mixed up. Well, no, I didn't. If you watch other videos, you're going to see other people doing this, probably similar, maybe not exactly the same. None of them are wrong. We all just have a little bit different way of doing things. All right, it's all mixed, good enough. And now I'm going to let it sit here in a warm area until it rises for about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to cover it with a towel for now. Just like this. If you don't have a warm place in your kitchen, maybe set it on top of your fridge or close to the oven if the oven's going, or in your microwave, just somewhere where it's away from drafts and cold and it's in a warm area. So I'll be back in 30 to 45 minutes. All right, after 1 hour, pull your bread out of the bowl. Get it into the shape of whatever, if you're putting it in a loaf pan or whatever, get it into the shape that you want. Then I'm going to put it in my cast iron skillet that I've put parchment paper in. I'm going to cover it one more time and let it sit for an hour and rise a little bit more. Alright, so I let it rise another hour, and now I'm just going to sprinkle some flour on top, rub it around, and I'm going to take a knife and just score the top like that. There are other things you can do to this bread, like put some seasonings on it, in it, around it, whatever. But I wanted to just show the basic bread recipe. So I'm going to put this in a 375-degree oven for the next 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, until it gets a nice golden brown. Now we'll be back in 30 minutes. And there you go, fresh out of the oven. Resist all urge to slice it fresh. Let it sit and cool off for a while. Trust me on this. Alright, it's the next day, and I'm going to cut some of this bread for my breakfast. Let's see when I cut it. Cut another piece off. Make us some tomato soup this afternoon, and this bread is going to go perfect with that. There are other ways to make this bread. I can add some spices or seasonings, herbs to it, like sugar, cinnamon. I can make it a sweet bread. I can make it a savory bread. There's all kinds of little twists you can make with this simple bread recipe. But this is just where we start. And that's all there is to making a very quick loaf of bread. Thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.